ankle closed kinetic chain dorsiflexion. So all that means is the foot's fixed on the ground and the ankle's bending. The reason this one is so important, we'll talk more about it later as well, but I probably like 90%, if not more, of the athletes that I see and I'm screening for ankle mobility, they probably all need it, or 90%. You know, occasionally I get someone who's like, okay, you're good. And we see it so much with ankle sprains, which is one of the top injuries in volleyball, knee injuries and pain. So this is a huge one. It also just relates to mechanics of being able to jump effectively.
Call this
training rehabbing, and with an one that's I added this little picture to kind of show and explain in volleyball. It's called the anterior oblique swing, important sling. So this fascia is attaching, especially when we're attacking adductor or the inside thigh, always to the opposite being open. So you can imagine if this is like a rubber band across your body, and you stretch it only, potential 25%, and then you let it go when they're not going very swinging far, it doesn't have much power. So we really stretch it, or we really open up and describing what we're trying to have them do. You're maximizing the actually stretch what's called a fascial sling power in the body. That so these fascial slings are super important in sports. So obviously there's training rehabbing, and it goes on with one that's fully transferring it, but at least you're creating that potential. So volleyball is called the anterior oblique sling. So this fascia is attaching the adductor or the inside thigh to the opposite pec muscle. So you can imagine if this is like a rubber band across your body and you stretch it only, 25%, and then you let it go, it's not going very far. It doesn't have much power. When we really stretch it or we really open up and we get that rotation, you're maximizing the potential power that you can put into the ball. This one's called a hitbox. There's a lot of variations of this. I like adding in all these components. So again, we'll talk more at the end why I chose these, but just to kind of show you it. Knees are dropping to the side. I'm bridging up. I'm tucking my tailbone under and driving my hips forward. Then I lean over my bent leg and I lift my ankle for internal rotation on that hip. Without my hands, I switch to the other side. I'm doing the same thing. Bridging up, squeezing my glutes. My back, as you'll notice when we go back to the other side, stays straight for this move. That shows me that it's happening from the hips and I'm not compensating here. And again, I'm leaning over, so I'm getting some stretch in this down leg and getting muscles activated in the leg going into internal rotation here. So again, you can really, I did in this video, I usually say like 3 to 5 reps of the internal rotation where I'm lifting the foot off the ground, and really going back and forth, maybe a total of 5 times. Should be pretty sufficient to get things warmed up. This is a shoulder external rotation stretch. So this is like total nerd me talking to you. I think this is just the coolest thing. There's in overhead athletes, some of you guys might be aware of this, you might be not. There's adaptations that occur in the shoulder. And basically what happens is, and this happens when kids start playing the sport. So if you've got someone who's never played volleyball in their life and they start doing it, in their 30s, you're probably not going to see these adaptations. But a lot of the kids are making it, even in high school, higher level of play, college, you're going to start seeing this, that basically we think of like a baby laying, right? And their arms are up here like this, because when they're born, their bones are like rotated back. So as they develop, they start to rotate forward so they can look and move like a normal human. But when they play an overhead sport from a younger age, that bone actually ends up not rotating all the way. And so it stays back compared to the other side. Now, this is a normal and, in fact, needed adaptation. Like, especially like in a pitcher, you will never see a successful pitcher who doesn't have this occur at a younger age. And so we do see it not to the degree of like baseball pitchers, but, and these numbers are arbitrary. They're not specific to volleyball, just so you know. But we'll see some of these changes in volleyball. So it's really cool because it allows for, again, just that arm to be a funnel of the power created, being able to whip that elbow forward in the movement. We need this external rotation, which is when that arm is going back like this. So the thing that's often missed is if they're looking at a shoulder and they're measuring motion, you have to measure both sides in these athletes. And again, just not to talk too much about this, but it's just, you can see, let's say the picture on the left is the non-dominant arm and the picture on the right is the non-dominant arm. These numbers are different, but they add up to the same, and that's what you're looking for. Okay, so in order to keep that external rotation, happy, healthy, we can of course stretch and mobilize into it. And then this one I call thoracic extension and lat stretch. So we're getting both of those things. We're getting length through the lats so that we can make sure that arm goes up where it needs to. And then thoracic extension of the upper back. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about why that's important. Looks like this. This is also a wall one. Two versions of this. You can do with the arm straight. It's very important that they push their hips back and their chest down. The hips going back locks out the low back. So make sure that I'm doing this and I'm actually addressing my spine up here and I'm not just doing it in the low back, which most volleyball players have plenty of motion here. So we want to make sure we're stretching it higher. I prefer, just from the way it feels, the elbows bent. You can literally see how much farther that thoracic spine in my upper back goes down by doing it this way. One thing to note, if they do it with the elbows bent or even arms straight, they just want to make sure their elbows stay kind of close together right in front of them and not wide, just to get the adequate mobility that we're looking for.